Donald Trump now has the worst net approval rating among independents of any president ever at this point in term two. He is worse than Richard Nixon, who would be going adios amigos in a few months back in 1974.
If you don't know what's going on in the Iran war right now, I just want to tell you that you're not alone. Because President Trump doesn't know what's going on in the Iran war either. Take a listen.
Regime change was not our goal. We never said regime change, but regime change has occurred. But we also won regime change. We have a regime change like nobody thought was possible.
Yesterday, he gave a speech where in a 7-minute window, he said this. In a 7-minute window, he said, we don't want regime change. We never wanted regime change. 7 minutes later, he says, we have the biggest, the best regime change. Take a listen.
Regime change was not our goal. We never said regime change, but regime change has occurred. But we also won regime change. We have a regime change like nobody thought was possible.
We want regime change. We had regime change. It's the biggest regime change. We never wanted regime change. We always said we wanted regime change. Yeah, I can't follow it either. It's the delusional rantings of a man who's in the middle of a crisis, the likes of which, you know, maybe most U.S. presidents have never seen before, never even thought they'd see before. But Trump is in the middle of it, okay? So that's why Donald Trump is, I guess, now requesting a 48-hour ceasefire. He understands. He understands that, like, this is not going well. The only problem with that is Iran is not stupid. They said, no, of course, we don't want a 48-hour ceasefire. Like, why the hell would we want a 48-hour ceasefire? We have told you what we need. We have all the cards right now. We've told you what we need. They've been very, very, very clear. They published, like, it was like a 6 or 10 point rough outline of discussion points, and a 48-hour ceasefire is not among them. Zero condition, 48-hour ceasefire. Not in the cards, okay? This is not what is being proposed. So Iran has rejected Trump's ceasefire. This has been reported by Reuters and Axios as well. And I guess in response to this 48-hour ceasefire denial, Trump decided that he was going to request a $1.5 trillion budget for 2027 for the U.S. military because, you know, it takes a lot of U.S. taxpayer dollars to bomb bridges, pharmaceutical factories and industries in Tehran, universities in Tehran, women's dormitories in Tehran, sports facilities in Iran, elementary schools in Iran, energy facilities in Iran. It takes a lot of money to bomb all that stuff. So 1.5 trillion, because we all know this war is not going to be ending anytime soon if Trump and Netanyahu have their way. That's why Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov came out and he gave some much needed strong advice to the U.S. president. He said, instead of making demands, these 48-hour demands, Trump should learn to negotiate with Iran. I like how he said he should learn to negotiate with Iran. He didn't say he should go back to negotiating with Iran because Trump has never negotiated with Iran in earnest. Every single time he's negotiated with Iran, Iran gets bombed halfway through the negotiations. Yeah, he should learn how to actually negotiate with Iran rather than making demands and then bombing Iran halfway through the discussions. In the U.S., public anger is rising. According to The Atlantic, growing discontent over the state of the economy and Iran war have led to anemic approval ratings for Donald Trump, and the facts back it up. President Trump has the lowest approval rating of his entire presidency. There is not one single poll in the Real Clear Politics polling average that has a positive approval rating for President Trump right now. And you can see here the graphic. It's the full breakdown. I'll move this over a little bit. It is the lowest approval rating of Trump thus far. He currently has nearly 57% disapproval in the United States. A net spread of negative 16%. 40.9% approval, 56.9% disapproval. That is absolutely incredible. This is the biggest disapproval, most unfavorable approval rating we've seen of Trump thus far, except for at the end of his first term. At the end of his first term, what was this? 57.9. What are we at now? We're at 56.9. So we're actually now almost at like the highest disapproval rating we've seen of Trump at any point in either of his presidencies. What was his highest? It was after January 6th, 57.7. Yeah, we're literally now almost at the very peak. We're now almost at the very peak. Well, I guess it went up to 58.9% was the highest. So there you go. It's not going to get any better. This war is only going to get worse. They're covering up the casualties. The Intercept reported 750 U.S. casualties, injuries, deaths that they're covering up right now in this war. And he also has the worst net approval rating among independents of any president ever. Take a listen.
At this point in term number 2.
Yeah, a big difference there. Republicans who are running for office in a few months watching this with a lot of trepidation. Let's talk about independents, which has been this group which really has just been eye-popping the last few months.
Eye-popping indeed. This number, if there's one big number from this, is that Donald Trump now has the worst net approval rating among independents of any president ever at this point in term 2. He is worse than Richard Nixon, who would be going adios amigos in a few months back in 1974 and term 2. Look at this, minus 45 points, worse than George W. Bush at this point in term 2. The Iraq War was weighing him down at minus 37, and worse than Richard Nixon when, of course, there were all those impeachment hearings back in 1974 at minus 36 points. He's nearly 10 points worse among independents on his net approval rating at this point in term 2, Donald Trump is, than Richard Nixon. My goodness gracious.
Height of Watergate we're comparing it to here.
All
right, talk about possible collateral damage. I mean, the president...
He's cooked. Absolutely cooked. President Trump warns Iran they have 48 hours to make a deal or open the Strait of Hormuz before all hell will rain down on them. Yeah, I've heard that like 100 times, bro. Lindsey Graham came out and said, after speaking with Trump this morning, I'm completely convinced that he will use overwhelming military force. That's what they said the last time they gave a 48-hour warning. And then what happened? Trump was like, actually, give it 5 more days. And then he said, actually, no, give it 10 more days. If they continue to impede the Strait of Hormuz and refuse a diplomatic solution to achieve our military objectives, if it's not clear to Iran and others by now that the president means what he says, then I don't know when it will ever be. I completely support the 48-hour ultimatum. A massive military operation awaits Iran if they choose poorly. So, I mean, like, they might do it this time, but if they do, it's just going to backfire because Iran has already shown that they can do a lot of damage, and they've already shown exactly where they're going to do the damage. Like they've created a list of all the U.S. companies, all the U.S. companies they're going to hit. They've created a list of all the, oil and gas assets they're going to hit in the Gulf. They've created a list of the desalination plants that they'll hit. I don't know what they think they're going to achieve other than a massive crisis in the economy by doing some sort of a large-scale attack against Iranian infrastructure. It's just going to have negative ramifications for the U.S. Economy and for Trump and the global economy. Like, his approval rating is going to sink further down. I don't know. Iran put out a warning shot today. They hit a Oracle company headquarters in Dubai, as I understand. So they clearly have, full options, total options at their disposal. They have full capabilities to hit whatever they want, whenever they want, and there's nothing that the U.S. can do about it. But for some reason, we're going down this path one more time. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.